Ever since Aaron Hicks left the Yankees, he has been playing like prime Mickey Mantle on the Orioles. Now, speaking of the Yankees, Garrett Cole, he wagged his finger at a Mariners player yesterday, and Elly De La Cruz, he went yard again. The Reds are looking for their 10th win in a row. All of that in today's MLB Recap, a series in which we recap every single game almost every single day. And a quick reminder, if you're going to any baseball games or concerts anytime soon, save yourself 20 bucks off on SeatGeek using code Fuzzy. Now, before we show all of the MLB games from yesterday, I have to show this Joe Adell home run. That ball went 514 feet. He is hitting 285 with 20 home runs in 61 AAA games. Should the Angels move on from Joe Adell, or should they wait it out and hold out hope that he can be Byron Buxton 2.0? Because Buxton, he was a late bloomer. Maybe the same can be said for Joe Adell. All right, here we go. The first game I want to talk about, the Guardians and the A's. Honestly, we're going to skip all the way into the 7th inning because Luis Medina, he was pretty good for the A's, and Cleveland, they finally scored in the 7th inning. Ahmed Rosario, he came in clutch with an RBI single, and then J-Ram, he actually ties the game up on a double. J-Ram is hitting 408 with 10 extra base hits, 14 RBIs over his last 11 games. Both teams, they were held in check by the bullpen, so they're going to need extras, and thank you, Andres Gimenez. He walks it off, and the Guardians, out of nowhere, now own the 5th best OPS in all of Major League Baseball over the last 2 weeks, so they are pushing the button. They are calling up their prize pitching prospect, Gavin Williams. He's 6'8". He throws 101 to 102. He has a 2.54 ERA and an almost 12.5 strikeouts per 9 in the minors this year. He's been insane, and they're calling him up. Now, there's one more walk-off to talk about, but I have to talk about this Twins game first, because if Minnesota loses this game, they'll just be one game ahead of Cleveland in the Central. Adam Duvall, he is picking up right where he left off. That's his first home run since returning from the IL. He had that wrist injury. Christian Arroyo, this kid had a monster day. He belts a home run in the 5th. And before we show his other extra base hit, I want to shout out Cutter Crawford of the Red Sox. He tossed 5 scoreless, he didn't walk anyone, and he struck out 5. I bring that up because Boston has the 4th best team ERA over the last 2 weeks. They have really stepped up in Chris Sale's absence. Christian Arroyo, he did it again. Okay, that's not a home run, but it is a base clearing double to put Boston up 8. He went 5 for 5 in yesterday's game. He knocked in 4 runs. Masataka Yoshida, he must have been charging up all game because he went 450 feet on that 2-run bomb. He has 27 extra base hits and a 133 OPS plus while hitting over 300. The Red Sox, they've won 6 games in a row, but they're still in last place, whereas Minnesota, they're 2 games under 500 and they're in first place. Check out the AL standings because they are wild. Here we go, the Padres and the Giants. Juan Soto, he doubled in the Padres' first run, and Fernando Tatis Jr., he stole the lead back on his 15th home run later on in the 4th. Tatis is 10th in F4. He missed 20 games. Seth Lugo of the Padres, he pitched a gem, allowing just 1 run over 5. Just unfortunately, though, his bullpen could not get the deal done. Brandon Crawford, he brought it within 1 in the 7th, and Jock Peterson, not only did he tie it on that sweet swing, his 8th home run of the season, but he walked it off on a walk. The Giants, they are on a 9-game winning streak, and they have the best run differential in all of the NL West. They beat the Padres 4-3. Now we got to talk about the Diamondbacks, because if the Brewers beat Arizona in this one, the Giants will be just 2.5 games back of first place. Ketel Marte, his bounce-back season continued in a big way. He belted a 3-run tater in the 2nd. He's hitting 421 with 9 RBIs over his last 10 games. Milwaukee, they immediately scored on a Luis Urias RBI double, and would you look at that? Jesse Winker, he went yard for the first time in 2023. He's played 43 games. He has just 4 extra base hits. Anyways, back to the action. Yelich, he was credited with an RBI groundout that got the game within 1, and now Milwaukee, they have the lead. William Contreras, he laced a huge 2-run double to put his team up. William, by the way, has 25 doubles, 28 home runs, and a near 130 OPS plus over his last 153 games. He is amazing in the batter's box, just saying. D-Will, Devin Williams, he came in with 12 saves, and he leaves this game with 13 as the Brewers do beat the Diamondbacks 7-5, so the Giants are just 2.5 games back of first place. We just saw the Giants win their 9th in a row, and that'll be second to Cincinnati's 10-game win streak if they can pick up this W versus the Rockies. Friend of the channel, Nolan Jones, he launched a no-doubter. He's hitting 360 basically with 5 home runs, 5 stolen bases. He went 4 for 4 in this game. He's a former Guardian, so this breaks my heart. The only problem is Nolan, he can't pitch. TJ Friedel, he absolutely rakes. That's a 3-run tater. He's hitting 322 with a 129 OPS plus. Elly De La Cruz, he also rakes. That is easy pop. He goes the other way for a second career home run. Will Benson, speaking of second career home runs, there's his second. Now the Rockies, though, they're going to make a comeback as Jorge Alfaro hit a huge 3-run home run in the 8th, and Nolan Jones, he smoked another RBI extra base hit to make things interesting. But Alexis Diaz, he does get out of it. He leaves the bases loaded. He is now 20 for 20 in save opportunities this year. Can the Reds keep this up? Let me know in the comments. The Cincinnati Reds have won 10 in a row to surge up the standings, while the Pittsburgh Pirates have lost 8 in a row. What's the opposite of surging up the standings? Tucker Barnhart, if he is going yard, yeah, it's probably going to be a good day, especially when you have Marcus Stroman on the bump. Stroman, he leads baseball by far in quality starts. A quality start is just a pitcher going 6 or more innings without allowing more than 3 runs. He's got 14 of those now. He had 7 shutout innings yesterday with 5 punch-outs. He has a 2.28 ERA on the season. Mike Tauchman, he's been doing a lot of talking lately. There's another home run. He's hitting .350 with 8 RBIs over the last week. So yeah, 8 losses in a row for Pittsburgh. And here's a look at the NL standings. Again, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but the Cincinnati Reds, they lead the pack by a half game in the NL Central. One last NL Central team I want to talk about, the Cardinals. They've now won 4 in a row. They got some huge run support from Dylan Carlson. He hit a monster 450-foot 2-run blast in the 2nd inning, and after Wilson Contreras roped an RBI double, Carlson, he hit another moonshot. Contreras, he grabbed 1 more RBI for Jordan Montgomery, who was really good. He struck out 6, only allowed 4 base hits. He struck out 7 over 7 innings. Paul DeJong, he is slugging his way to another 20 home run season, and it used to be really easy for him. From 2017 to 2019, he averaged 25 home runs a season. Now, if you can get Dylan Carlson going and another starting pitcher steps up along with Jordan Montgomery, I'm not saying that the Cardinals can completely save their season, but the Cardinals might not be out of it if they can get some contributions from the other starting pitchers. Eloy Jimenez smacked a 2-run missile for Chicago, and Adolis Garcia answered with his 16th home run, and this Corey Seager guy, he is insane. Corey is almost hitting .370. He's hitting .367. He doubles on Jankowski in the 5th, and after Chicago kind of stole the lead back, it doesn't really matter because Corey, he tied it at 4-4 in the 7th, and there's RBIs 3, 4, and 5 on the day. He's missed 31 games, yet he's still on pace for 193 hits and 80+ extra base hits. Corey without the shift has legitimately been a cheat code. Texas, their bullpen folded in the 8th, but lucky for them, Travis Jankowski has a hose piece, so that keeps it at 6-6. Wait, Chicago, they're going to challenge the play. They were saying that Jonah Heim blocked the play, and oh my goodness, it was overturned. What is Jonah Heim supposed to do? He's moving to get the ball, which I thought was allowed, but I guess because his foot was on the plate, that is going to be considered blocking the plate. The rule seems to be so subjective and just bad in my opinion. I wish the MLB would get rid of it. Kendall Graveman, he came in for the 9th inning. He converted his 7th save of the year as the Rangers take a really tough L. I mean, that was awful. Now let's go ahead and see if the Angels can capitalize on the umpires hosing Texas and maybe gain a game in the standings. Both starters in this one, the Dodgers versus the Angels, they were on top of their games. Halo starting pitcher Reed Detmers, he was facing off against Kershaw, and it was fun to watch. They basically matched each other pitch for pitch. Kershaw, he went 7 shutout with 5 strikeouts. Detmers also went 7 shutout, but he had 8 strikeouts. He also only allowed 2 base hits, so technically he did outduel Clayton Kershaw, but Kershaw, he's going to get the last laugh. He's going to leave with the W after his offense popped off in the 8th. He scored 2 on singles from Michael Busch, the rookie, and Will Smith. Evan Phillips, he now has 8 saves as the Dodgers shut out the Angels and they win 2-0. We have the Astros and the Mets. The Halos, they couldn't grab a game, but what about the Astros? They've been scuffling lately, so they really need this W. Alex Bregman, he connected on a 2-run shot, his 10th. His slugging has really fallen off a cliff despite that being his 10th home run. His doubles have just kind of vanished. Framber Valdez, he used that momentum to toss 7 shutout, and then he got 1 more run of support from Jose Altuve later on in the game. Now, Framber eventually ran out of gas. He allowed 2 runs in the 8th inning, but his stat line was still amazing. 8 innings, 9 strikeouts, just 1 walk on the day. He has a sub 2.5 ERA on the season. Ryan Presley, he has 13 saves now, so the Rangers and the Angels both lose. The Astros are back to being just 5.5 games back in first place. One last AL West team I want to talk about, the Mariners. They are facing off against the Yankees in New York, and they fell to 9 games back after losing this one to the Yankees. Anthony Rizzo, he's trying to get hot again. He drove in Gleyber on a double, and New York, they've been using so many different guys this year. Frenchie Cordero, Jake Bowers, and now apparently this guy, Billy McKinney. That's no cheapie either. 432 feet on that 2-run blast. We head to the 7th where Garrett Cole is 1 out from completing 7 frames. And what was that? Garrett Cole launched a fastball directly over Jose Caballero's head. I guess he was annoyed with Jose stepping in, and then and out and then kind of messing with the pitch clock. Garrett, he then blew a fastball past Jose and wagged his finger like, yeah, you got me there, buddy. Those little mind games for sure worked. I thought that was actually a lot of fun to watch. Garrett Cole struck out 8 hitters. He lowers his ERA to 2.64. Clay Holmes, he now has 9 saves on the season. The Yankees right now, even though they're way out of first place in the AL East, they would still make the playoffs today if the season ended because they have that second wild card spot. So because we just talked about the Yankees, it only makes sense to bring up Aaron Hicks and the Orioles. Anthony Santander, he kickstarted the scoring with an RBI single, and oh my, Aaron Hicks, he pimps home runs better than anyone in baseball in my opinion. He's hitting .340 with 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, and an insane 191 OPS plus since joining the Orioles. That beard magic is doing wonders for him. Santander, he also had a multi-RBI home run, giving him 11 home runs and 42 RBIs on the season. Ryan O'Hearn, there he is. He socked one out as well. All of that was for Kyle Bradish. Bradish is so sick in my opinion. He struck out 8 Rays over 5. He has a 3.25 ERA and 28 strikeouts over his last 27 innings. Now, once he came out, all hell broke loose as the Rays got within 1, but Baltimore's bullpen, they buckled down. They got it to Felix, and the Mountain, of course, he was going to get it done. He ended up striking out 2, and he got the 4-out save for his 20th save of the season. The Orioles, they're just 4 games back of the Rays for first place. This is a big-time series. We have a super easy game to recap. Yuri Perez was facing off against the Blue Jays, and the 21-year-old made some history. He is the first 21-year-old in over a decade to punch out 9 in a single game. He has a stupid 1.84 ERA and a 10 strikeouts per 9 in his first 41 innings. Yusei Kikuchi, he was nasty as well. He struck out 6 fish over 6 shutout innings. The most important thing, he didn't walk anyone. So now it's going to be up to the bullpen, and Miami's bullpen, they couldn't hold back the Toronto Blue Jays. Ernie Clement, he singled home Santiago Espinal, and a few moments later, George Springer, he brought home Ernie Clement. Jordan Romano, he now has 21 saves. Again, a super easy game to recap as the Jays beat the Marlins 2-0. We have some more history in this one. Spencer Strider, that strikeout right there to end the 5th inning gives him 300 strikeouts in his first 35 starts. He is the second pitcher ever to have 300 strikeouts in his first 35 starts, joining Dwight Gooden as the only 2 pitchers to ever do that. Austin Riley, he sent one out to tie it up at 1-1, his 12th home run. He got his OPS plus back up to 100, which is crazy to say out loud. He's just barely been average. He's so good though. Strider, he struck out 1 more in the 6th. He had 9 on the day. He has 136 strikeouts in 84 innings, which is good for a 14.5 strikeouts per 9. He's a starting pitcher. Ronald Acuna Jr., he put the Braves out in front, so Spencer Strider is going to be qualified for a W now. Matt Olson, he has 21 home runs and 52 RBIs now. And Iglesias, of course, he gave up a run in the final inning, but he has 10 saves. The Braves, they've won 7 in a row. They are now 5.5 games ahead of anyone in the NL East. Kind of a boring game, not gonna lie to you guys. The Royals and the Tigers, former Dodger Matt Beatty drove in the game's first and only run. That's got to be a brutal feeling for Michael Lorenzen of the Tigers. He was great. 1 run, striking out 7 over 6, but it's brutal because Daniel Lynch, he was just a bit better. He held Detroit in check over 7. He only gave up 2 hits and only struck out 2 hitters, so he was just crafty and missing barrels. Barlow, he has 8 saves. Again, a boring game. The Royals win 1-0. That was a beefy recap, so I tried to go a little bit quicker. I wanted to be more concise today, so if you enjoyed, make sure you guys leave a like if you're brand new, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys again soon for another recap.